It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Not necessarily two guys and a goalie today. It's a singular guy and a goalie with you here. Matt Iwanyk, Joaquin Gage with you here, live on Edmonton Sports Talk on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, as well as on YouTube. And today's a special edition of Two Guys and a Goalie, not because it's just me and Joaquin Gage, who really all that matters is Joaquin Gage of Two Guys and a Goalie, but the Two Guys and a Goalie presented by GS Construction. Thrilled to have GS Construction on as a partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and Two Guys and a Goalie, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success. GS Construction has has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become part of the team. Visit gsconstruction.ca and click Ready to Work, or visit their page at indeed.ca with the Next Person Up program at GS Construction. It's not just a job, it's a career. Gager, they just want to be with you. GS Construction wants to join you. Welcome to Two Guys today. Gager, how you doing today?
I'm great, buddy. This is great news. What a leader, the old Turan San with GS Construction. I don't know. I'll have to talk to him a little bit of what stories I'm allowed to divulge. There's an interesting one that I can think of off the top of my head where it involved West Philadelphia, and on the playground is where we almost spent the rest of our days. So maybe I'll get the okay from Sandy before I tell that story.
Yeah, you send a few texts, and I've got this story, this story, this story, this story. Which ones are yays? Which one are nays?
Yeah, that sounds good. But yeah, it's great to have a new sponsor. Looking forward to an ongoing relationship with GS Construction. It's great.
It's great that you're on today, because some news from the Edmonton Oilers today. I know you talked about it a little bit earlier on the morning show, but you are the resident goalie, and today the Oilers, they make the move that many would have liked to have seen. Many would have loved that Jay Woodcroft would have done this last year, but Calvin Pickard getting the start in net for Game 4 tonight instead of Stuart Skinner. Just initially, your thoughts of Chris Knobloch making this move?
Bold move. Confident in the players that he has at his disposal. This can be a huge moment for the Edmonton Oilers and for Calvin Pickard, right? Like, this is the opportunity that every goalie, I think, dreams about, and relishing in this opportunity to possibly do something very special for yourself and your teammates. And now you think about, is it time? Is this the proper timing? And I say 100% it is. You have Stuart Skinner, but by all accounts, hasn't been the same goaltender that we saw in the regular season. Has had its struggles. And I try to go through the Rolodex of goalies that I've thought about who have struggled in the postseason. One, if you look back at the past, maybe 15, almost 20 years of the best goaltenders in the league, there's one goalie that kind of stands out to me that did have his struggles, although won a cup, and that's Marc-Andre Fleury. He won the cup against Detroit, but then there was a long period of time where the Penguins just weren't getting the proper save at the right time in those next few years. Like they would they'd get to the conference final or semifinals and just be out-dueled in goaltending, and to the point where they were like, do we keep Fleury? Is this the right guy at this point? We saw what happened when Fleury had the reins and Matt Murray goes in, did it 2 years in a row. The next year was because of injuries a little bit, but Fleury wasn't able to get it over the goal line. Then you look at, he's had a lot of success in the playoffs, but just not that, even against Washington when the Knights lost in their inaugural season, couldn't get him over that hump. Got out-dueled it by Holtby at that point. So it's tough. It's a different beast. Do I think Stuart Skinner is capable of being a difference maker in the playoffs. But yes, by all accounts, he can do this. But it's it's a short amount of time. It's getting your game at the right level, getting your confidence at the right level, and performing at arguably the best that you can as a professional goaltender. We just, yeah, for some reason, I don't know what it is, Matty. We just haven't seen it yet.
Why? But how much more leeway could he get with this organization to show it? Like, I'm just going to fast forward to next year. He's going to be part of this team, I would assume. I would assume he goes into camp as the number one in the sense of this team. And if all goes well through the regular season, he gets first crack at the playoffs. But if he doesn't produce next year in the playoffs, how much more could you trust on a goal? Like, I feel like this is 2 strikes now on him. If he can't, like, we don't know how the rest of these playoffs are going to go. He might still get back in the net. He might play really well. He might help lead this team far on a playoff run. There's a lot of hockey still potentially to be played for this team. But if he doesn't come in and turn things around, there's not much left until you just realize maybe this is a guy that can't do it in the playoffs. Is that fair?
No, I don't think that's fair, because I do think he can. Like,
Okay.
he hasn't shown me any. Well, I have to watch how I word this before Twitter rips me apart. But in what I've seen, just the eye test, he is capable of putting together, going on a streak and raising the level of his game. Granted, this time of year, it means a lot more than the regular season, but this is something that he's done in the past, when from being a little kid to juniors, going on a long run with Swift Current, I believe, back in the day. Like, he's done this before. There's stuff that he can draw upon, of that feeling of being in the playoffs. There's no real. It's hard at the professional level, because it is a little bit of a different beast. But every goalie doesn't get to the NHL without having some sort of success in the postseason. Okay. Now he's got to find it. And maybe this is a good little reset for him. Light the fire. This is, if he does get back in there, if the Oilers manage not to win this game tonight, and he goes back in there against Vancouver, that's a big opportunity, and we'll see how that plays out. But hopefully it doesn't come to that.
What have you seen from him through the first 3 games of this series? I want to keep it to just this series, that you might not have seen him do in the regular season. Because look, he had a great regular season. He was a fantastic goalie for the Oilers through this regular season. He helped them, come out of what was the beginning of the season. He was the guy that was helped running the net for the 16 straight wins. A lot of people went in these playoffs thinking that he's going to figure it out because of that regular season. What are you not seeing from him through the first 3 games that you were seeing from him through the regular season?
To me, he's gone to, like, he's a positional style goaltender. Okay. Like, he gets himself in the proper positions. I always say that he's one of the best in the league at reading plays. But what I've seen over these 3 games is he's just become a blocker, right? Not that there's a lot, but there's no flow to his game. Like, when he's really on it, not only is he positionally sound, but there's a little bit more movement, being able, I look at the Brock Besser goals, and those are stoppable pucks, like, great shots. You have to give credit where credit's due, but it looks like he's just getting down in that butterfly and basically hoping it hits him to this point, right? Like, it's just that's a confidence thing, what I see with him. A little bit further back in the net, the natural tendency of a goalie that doesn't feel that confident tends to sink back into the blue paint. Not taking his ice back, just the magnitude of the situation. And I think a little bit is he wants to be a difference maker. There were times when he made some big saves in the LA series. He hasn't really made a save that really stands out to me in this Vancouver series, or a save at the most opportune time for his team. That's what he needs to do. And I've said it before, and I know people are saying that we just need average goaltending. No, you need Stuart Skinner. I said that with this tweet. God, people are mean out there, Maddie. It's crazy. But
on Twitter, no way.
Yeah,
really,
it's weird. It's weird. But I said Stuart Skinner. If the Edmonton Oilers want to win the Stanley Cup, Stuart Skinner has to be in the conversation for the Conn Smythe Trophy.
And you've said that for a few weeks.
I've said that. Yeah, I've said that a long time. But he does that, and that is a way above. That is, I would say, great goaltending. That is making it difficult for the other team. The other team has to do something special to score a goal. The Edmonton Oilers have good defensemen, but they do not have a Lidstrom. They don't have a Niedermeyer. They don't have a Pronger. The greatest equalizer in a game can be goaltending, and that's what either now Pickard or Skinner, they have to raise the level of their game if they want to get past the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, and then you get past the Vancouver Canucks and it's the Dallas Stars or something, and at that point, everyone needs to be better, because if this team gets past the Canucks, it's hard seeing them being able to find a best of 7, taking 4 against the Dallas Stars. I want to jump to the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. This coming in from Eden. Hey, boys, do you think the coaches went to the goalies and said, no matter what happens, Pickard tonight, Skinner in Vancouver, it allows the coaches to get a different goalie in and Skinner a chance to rest? Some people threw that out yesterday during the oil stream, saying, hey, look, Carolina did that. Anderson sat, and then he came back out. Tommy said, I think from Dave Pagnotta had it from the fourth period, that Anderson actually went to the Hurricanes asking for that rest day and then came back in. So it wasn't a team plan there. Do you see it all that Chris Knobloch would do something like that, where Skinner, you're going to be back in Game 5. We're just going Pickard tonight. Take the rest. Is that something you could see a team doing in the NHL playoffs?
No. Regular season, maybe. No, this is I think Coach Laviolette had a really good presser there, staying in the moment, right? You can't look too far ahead. Worry and take care of the day itself. That's where you have to simplify things down to this from a goaltending standpoint, for sure. You're not looking past this game. This is the most important time for the Edmonton Oilers. After this game, they'll make the decision. I highly doubt that the coaching staff said, yeah, we're going to give Pickard this one, and then Stu, you're going to come back, because if Pickard goes in and is unconscious,
well, if he wins, just the wins,
even if he just
how do you pull? I don't think you pull Pickard. Like the Oilers go wins, tied this series at 2. I don't think you go to Calvin Pickard and be like, we're pulling you.
I don't think you do either, Matty. I think this is again, this is what we dream about as little kids, goaltenders, going in the Stanley Cup playoffs and carrying your team to the finals and hoisting that thing at the end. This is the stuff that dreams are made of.
I want to get to Calvin Pickard right away here, but just one more on Skinner. What would you like the message to be from Chris Knobloch to Stuart Skinner today? Or what do you think he was telling Stuart Skinner as he was saying that he's going with Calvin Pickard tonight?
What I would say, be an honest coach. Go look. And I think he probably is. He's probably breaking down and building back up, right? We need more from you, but we know you're capable of this. We need you to be a big part of this team. You're the reason we got here in the first place. But where you're at right now, we can't. We need something a little bit more than what you're providing. That's probably what you'll hear. And stay ready, right? Like if things go south, you're going right back in there and start preparing mentally for the next game to see how that goes. That's what I would tell him, and I'm sure that's maybe not word for word, but I'm sure that's what Coach Knobloch probably said to him in yesterday after the meeting.
Calvin Pickard did speak to the media today, which is something there was a reporter from Vancouver that credited the Oilers media because it's not something you always see with NHL teams making a starting goalie available on a game day, and especially one that's coming in a situation like Calvin Pickard. But Calvin Pickard did speak to the media. Can you imagine what's going through his mind? And if you were him, how would you be preparing for this moment? Because here's a team that everyone, a lot of people are going Stanley Cup aspirations. This is a team that go win the Stanley Cup. A lot of expectations around this team. Down 2-1, and you're having to come in to try to turn this series around a bit. I say that without it's because it's only 2-1 series, right? Like it's not like it's a 3-1 series right now, and you're trying to fully turn this around. Still, very much the Oilers are in this series, but can you imagine what Calvin Pickard's going through right now as he prepares for Game 4 later tonight?
Probably can't wait till the puck drops and just get down to playing a game again. The amount of time in between games thinking about it, you're nervous. You wouldn't be human if you're not nervous. But this is where I think having a guy of his vintage, so to speak, like he's been around, he's a veteran, and I again, this is those times when, gosh, if you would have told him at the beginning of the season, there could be a possibility of you going in round 2 and taking the ball and running with it for a while. I think if you asked Calvin Pickard if he wanted to take part in something like that, undoubtedly he would have said yes. This is but it's going to be a nerve-wracking few hours before the game. But once the puck drops and he can get into this game, I'm sure the nerves kind of subside, and then you just start playing, right? I remember kind of the one thing that was troubling that I found when sitting on the bench in an NHL playoff game was the speed of play. So, this is essentially, Maddie, if you're going golfing every day for 60 days, your golf game's these guys are playing at the top level right now. The game is very quick, so all the practice in the world isn't going to prepare a goalie to get ready for this type of level of hockey. So hopefully he can get maybe a few stops, control those rebounds, start feeling good early. First, I would always say just slow it down. Okay, I'm going to make the next 5 saves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move over from there, or timing, whatever it is. Simplify the game as much as possible, because it is going to be a little bit of adjustment not having played and the level that these two teams are playing at right now.
I was mentioning on the Hangout, I don't think there's another position in sports where a change happens, and a part of the message is for the rest of the team as well. Like you would hope that the team defense buckles down a little bit more. And to everything you're just saying, even just because he needs to settle in, he needs that time to catch up, as everyone has been playing hockey for the last number of weeks. He hasn't. And just making sure they keep things a little easier for him to start so he could fully get settled in. But when you make that goalie change, whether it's in the game, mostly, or for the next game, you could say that that's a message to the rest of the team. There's nothing like that in sports. You don't change your starting goal or starting quarterback in football partly as a message to your offensive line to be better, or your running back to be better. You don't have that in baseball. You don't have that in soccer. It's such a unique spot here where it's also a message to the rest of this team. When we look at this game coming up tonight, where else do the Oilers need to be better for you to try to tie this series up at 2 games apiece? Yeah, goaltending matters, and we know that. But this hasn't been all goaltending in my eyes. There's some people that say strictly this is only goaltending. This team is fine without it, that they would be up 3-0 if they just were a little bit better. That is something I want to get to a little bit later. But what else in your eyes do you think the Edmonton Oilers need to improve on tonight if they want to even up this series?
I think they really need to get back to that patient style of game, right? When that happened, when we saw them play those types of games, where they were comfortable, they looked cool, even down a goal, right? But rolling through the lines, making it difficult on the other team. I said on the morning show how the Vancouver Canucks look very comfortable in these 3 games. There's no sandpaper. They're fine the way the game's going. The Oilers have to find a way to now make the Vancouver Canucks uncomfortable in the way that they play. I think that the way that they attack on offense has to be simplified. Like you cannot pass up opportunities to get pucks on net, because I think Arturs isn't great at controlling his rebounds. You have to start anticipating those second chance opportunities. And that's another thing, making it difficult on the goalie. Maddie, when you have a guy coming down in a scoring chance, in a good scoring location on the ice as a goalie, your peripheral is trying to find, okay, what if the rebound goes this? It's all computed really quickly. But by having more guys going towards the net with guys in scoring position, it creates havoc. You start bringing more guys to the net. I think they need to get a couple of those second chance opportunities. And on the defensive side, they need to make sure before they go on offense, no cheating tonight. Even, I think it was the Besser first goal, you saw Leon kind of do a little button hook away from the puck right before that the puck got to him. Not saying that's Leon's guy, but it would have just taken a little bit of time and space away from Brock to, really pick his spot at that point. Playing above the other team. But again, finishing checks, just not letting anyone off the hook tonight. This has got to be a physical game, because I really don't think you can't win playing Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid another 30 minutes tonight and expect a positive result. The best team wins hockey, not the best players.
This is Two Guys and a Goalie, presented by GS Construction. Matt Iwanyk, Joaquin Gage with you here. Cass is, I believe, down to Calgary today. Dustin Nielsen getting set to call Game 3 between the Portland Winterhawks and Moose Jaw Warriors in the WHL Finals. Gager, once again, still wearing his Portland Winterhawks jersey. And did I hear it correctly? You've signed it?
Yeah. I gave it to my billets, and so she gave it back to me. So it was.
Why did she give it back to you?
She thought I'd want it, so and it's she wore it to games for years. There was a jersey switch. I gave her when I played in the Spengler Cup. I gave her that jersey. Okay, and then I realized I might want that one back, so she sent me that one back. And then I recently sent her back one of my old actual Edmonton Oilers jerseys with a lot of signatures from old and new Oilers on there. So.
Okay, that's a better story than she just got, like, I just picturing, I just don't want this anymore. Here, take it. Like,
no, she was full sentimental,
okay.
And it's funny, Maddie, when you're in it, you don't really think of all the stuff and the memorabilia and things like that. I wish I would have kept a lot of this stuff, right? So as I got older, I go, well, that would be kind of cool to still have, So yeah, I mean, this was my first kind of big jersey that I wore. So it's awesome.
I love that it's just throw your names on, because then, hey, who signed that? I did.
Me. Like, yeah. What's wrong with signing your own jersey? Hey, it's kind of unique in that way.
I think that's amazing too, just because it's like, this is my jersey. I played, so I signed it. So I love that. Okay, 2 questions. What's one piece of memorabilia that you own that you absolutely love? And what's one piece of memorabilia you wish you had remembered to have grabbed, if there's one thing you could have taken? Both a good and a bad.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Do you want a couple seconds to think about it?
Yeah, maybe let me think about that.
Because I'll quickly, we have the Edmonton Sports Talk Parlay up at CoolBet that I'll throw out there right now. Wonderful partners at CoolBet. They boost our odds. I've built one today to really pump up the Edmonton Oilers tonight. They're coming out flying. That was my basis around this one. So Oilers to win in regulation, the Oilers scoring 4 or more goals, McDavid 2 points, Hyman with the goal, and Bouchard with a point tonight. That's plus 500. So McDavid 2 points, Bouchard with a point, Hyman with the goal, Oilers 4+ goals, and they win in regulation, plus 500. Head to coolbet.com, click on exclusives, scroll down. I think on this one, it doesn't initially show up. You have to, if you go into exclusives, say load more, then there says Sports Talk Parlays. Click that one, and you could get the plus 500 EST parlay for Game 4 tonight. Got your answers?
Yeah, no. So I mean, I've got a lot of. I was able to scrounge up a lot of things. The one thing that I wish I still had, um, again from the Spengler Cup back then, if you were a star of the game, you got a little ounce of gold with the Spengler emblem on there, and so I was star of the game for one of the games, and went home obviously with this thing, and my dad sold it. So yeah, I wish I still had that.
Favorite thing?
This is a few things. Again, I was when we were in Russia. We for stars of the game, you got all these different things. But I actually have this plate, this wooden plate, and it's hand painted with the Russian churches, like the big in the back of it. It's probably the most unique hockey gift that I've ever received. That's pretty special. I have that hanging up in my office. It's pretty cool.
I like this text in from Adam. Does Gager have a certificate of authenticity for that signature? Does he even know it's legit?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's mine. I'm pretty sure it's the names. It's the only jersey with the name on the front and the back.
We will have a qualifying opportunity still to come today for the VIP table for four for the Friday Great Outdoors Comedy Festival with Shane Gillis and Andrew Schultz. Alley Cat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival here in Edmonton, July 12th through the 14th, 6 o'clock or a lager on special. GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game show. Tommy will be live at Hudson's on White, and Schmitty from Strathcona Spirit did let me know that the Birdie Booze will be available at Hudson's on White tonight, and he threw out some couple drop shot ideas. Birdie Bomb, which is the Birdie Booze dropped in a 6 o'clock or lager, 3 parts beer, 1 part Birdie. Orange and blue gold juice, which is the Birdie dropped into OJ, or Birdie Boost, the Birdie dropped in Red Bull. You haven't tried it yet, Gage, or the final product, I don't believe.
No,
I do
yet.
have some. So when you're in on Thursday, you'll be able to try it, and it is absolutely to die for.
You just go over ice, hey?
I did that because I just bought it, so I wanted it chilled. So I threw some ice on it. It was great. I would rather just have it cool. Careful though, I heard if you throw it in the freezer, it's 20% alcohol, so it could freeze a little bit. So that's something more for the fridge.
Yeah.
Get that in the fridge, get it nice and cool, and just pour that in a glass.
Well, I thought we were
delicious.
doing old fashions on Thursday. I was, if you remember last week, we were kind of talking.
Well, one, I forgot about that, but also I'm not opposed to both.
Yeah. Oh, another tasting at DST. I love it.
I don't know. We're here for a while, Gager. I don't know.
Yeah.
Last week we were here till like 3 o'clock just chatting afterwards, and a couple 2-hoots went down. So
it kind of got off the rails a little bit. But
an old fashioned and a Birdie Booze. It's that just sounds like a fun Thursday to me.
Yeah, should be good. And another hockey game. Yeah,
exactly. And either the Oilers are facing elimination or it's a 2-2 series, and everyone's planning the parade route once again. Time for a new segment of Two Guys and a Goalie. Hire it or fire it, presented by GS Construction. GS Construction is hiring now. Become part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page on indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team, GS Construction. I've sent you the questions that I have, so to have you a little bit prepared, but basically how this segment goes and moving forward is you and Cass will be asked questions, and it's hire it or fire it. So question number 1, the Edmonton Oilers tonight should focus on retribution against Zadorov. Hire it or fire it, Gager?
Oh, that's a definite fire it. If you get a chance, you've heard the old adage over the last few. What they did an excellent job against the Kings is taking a number, right? And then if they get the chance, lay the boom on them and make the night a little bit more difficult. But look, it's way too important. I understand it. It's tough. You want to see something done, but maybe that leaks into next year and something gets done at a time where the stakes aren't as high.
Also, is it Zadorov you have to go after, or do you go after the top guys of the Canucks, the Quinn Hugheses, the Elias Petterssons. Is that not a better way to send a message to the Vancouver Canucks? You come after our top guys, we'll go after your top guys.
By far. I mean, that's what you want to do. And like I played at a different time where if something was happening to your stars, maybe one of our guys would take liberties with your skill, and then skate by the bench with your skilled guy needing the next 3 hours in the dentist chair going and pointing at the guy that was acting like a dummy and go, you're the reason he's got to go have 5 root canals right now. Right. Like that's the kind of thing you say to just get into the mental warfare side of the game for sure.
So with that, should a guy like Kara get into the lineup tonight? This team hasn't had enough of that physical play. Like we could all point to just at the very end of that game, what happened with McDavid. A lot has been made of the lack of response from the Edmonton Oilers largely. Is this a perfect game to get a Carrick in there to try to bring a little bit more physicality into it?
I think so. You can't pass up checks in the playoffs, Matty. Like if you watch that Rangers Canes game last night, or even the Avs, like they were finishing every chance possible. And I know the game's different, but no one passed up an opportunity to lay a shoulder in the guy. Was it a massive bone crushing hit? No, but it eliminated the guy from the play, makes the decision making quicker. You can't give free passes because Zadorov having an unbelievable playoffs, but geez, the guy's, he's not a Norris caliber defenseman here, and he looks like it at times. So, this has to be a much more physical battle, and I think Carrick can bring a few more guys into the fight.
I kind of mentioned a little bit before, but go a little deeper into this one. Connor and Leon, they should be on separate lines. Hire it or fire it.
Hire it. Again, you can't. This is the old crutch that we've seen for many seasons. It works at times. It worked for game 2, and they were just too much. But 30 minutes in a game is not. You're not going to be successful over a 7-game series. You need to split these guys up. You need to throw something different at the Vancouver Canucks, a different look. Saying that, there's guys that are going to be playing with these two players that are going to need to raise their level of play as well. But it's just, I think it distributes the offense, and the way that the Oilers can start generating a lot more momentum throughout their whole lineup, getting everyone involved. Because again, it's the best team wins, not the best players.
Yeah, and like I will point something Tommy was saying a lot yesterday here is, you could talk about the depth needing to be better and produce. It's kind of hard when you're only seeing the ice for 6-7 minutes and you're not feeling the flow of the game, and you jump out in the third period and you're trying to figure out the game while the Canucks have been rolling a bunch of players out and they've got it going. But it's just, I could see why coaches go to it though, right? Like you could see why you just go, yeah, I'm going to put 2 of the top 5 players in the world together and see what I could get done with it. It looked like throughout the regular season, Chris Knoblauch was kind of shy to do that a little bit. Back to seeing that, but like if a non-playoff or overtime game, you can't have those guys being on the ice for 30 minutes.
It's too much. You're going to run out of gas by the end of this. And saying that, like, no, it's tough. Yeah, you're just not going to be able to get into the game. You need to give some other chances, some opportunities for some other players to have those Fernando Pisani like playoffs. Someone's got to step up other than 29 and 97, right? Someone has to establish themselves. Who's that going to be? What I find really, Matty, is it's funny because we looked at Henrique for a while, and he's not exactly, but he's responsible. He's kind of like the Nuge, and he started coming around. You're really seeing what it's like without him in the lineup and having that responsible play from a veteran forward. It's tough. Hopefully, maybe by the end of this series, but a high ankle sprain, man, that's a month and a half usually with those types of injuries.
I'm going to jump quickly to 4, and then we'll go to 3. Lots been made on Darnell Nurse and Cody Cece's pairing and all that. Cody Cece, he should sit for Stetcher, hire it or fire it.
Fire it. I think. Well, the Cece's been kind of scoring too lately. I think at this point you go with the girl or the guy that you went to the dance with, right? There's a lot more from Cece. I think both him and Nurse have to be a little bit harder on the skill of the Vancouver Canucks. Make it a little bit more difficult. Again, the whole comfort level. It's been too pedestrian from those two. You look at the hits. I think they only had a combined 3 between them over 2 games, or a ridiculous stat. I can't remember what exactly it was. These guys have to be more of a physical presence. I'm not saying running guys and going out of your way for big hits, but they have to lean on the skill of the Vancouver Canucks and make them way more uncomfortable in the offensive zone.
Oilers management should complain about refs in the media to counter the Canucks doing this. Hire it or fire it.
I think I fired it. I fire it again. I don't have any problems with the reffing, to tell you the truth. I think that it's basically been equal up to this point.
Equal, like it's been fine, or equal with bad calls both ways? This
bad
hasn't been
calls both
good
ways.
reffing. You can't say that it's been good reffing.
But I don't think it's leaning one way more than the other. Both teams have gotten bad calls. Both teams have gotten away with a lot of stuff. I think it shouldn't be so. God, now you got me thinking about.
Well, because here's the
because
counter
I did
for
say,
this. I'll let you go ahead.
I did say that I like your word of
Gamesmanship.
Gamesmanship with Connor and Leon. Like when Miller is cross-checking you 4 times in the back, you need to take a knee at one point, Leon, just to slide out, put the head back a little bit, a little bit more gamesmanship in those areas, I think. And then once it's happening in game, this is where coaching staff, with a subtle little, nod to the ref, hey, look, we were trying to get those cross checks out of the game at the beginning of the season. Now they're back in full force, and they're trying to, they're taking liberties with our star players. Let's keep an eye out for that. That's about I don't like the whininess of it all. I think that's petty, but I think there's some gamesmanship that you can do in game more so to possibly affect the way that the reffing goes in your favor.
See, and where I come up with this is that you had Rick Tocchet do this. You had the Vancouver Canucks come out in the media and make their comments, and it felt like they got maybe a little bit more through Game 3, that they got away with a little bit more. And that's where, to me, the gamesmanship plays in. You don't have to fully believe that the reffing has been more in favor of the Canucks than you. You could sit there and say the same as you, that, yeah, it's been split, but they started this. And now you have to try to bring things back, in my eyes, and have, what's Ken Holland have to lose? Call all the media over and say, you want to know something? Like Don Sweeney did it yesterday for the Bruins. Have the media over, like, you want to know something? Not happy with these calls. The Vancouver Canucks, they could say all they want, but they're getting all these calls. Look at Leon with cross-checked here, and here. We'd love things to be equal. You don't have to believe it. But the Canucks opened up the door. They started the complaining first. And to me, the gamesmanship is you got to return serve on that one. And that's where I'd like to see someone from Oilers step up behind a microphone and defend their team in that way. And it's, to a degree, maybe take some pressure off their players as well in doing so.
Well, I think the end of last game makes it so you don't have to say too much. Like you already have a suspension, a fine. There were penalties handed out for that type of play, and considering the guy it happened to, it's a bad look on the league when you got a guy trying to bend his spine backwards and another guy trying to take out his front row. That's a good case for whoever's reffing tonight, with the supervisor to go over. Oh, hey, we gotta cut it down. One of these guys is going to get hurt if this continues. And that's something that the NHL doesn't want one of their best players in the league out in the playoffs, where it could mean the loss of the Edmonton Oilers with one of those guys going out for any amount of time.
We have a couple Canucks fans that have jumped into the nasty chat right now.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they're having fun. I just love how your team's doing up in a series, and your choice of fun is to go to the visiting team's media and comment in there as opposed to focus on your own team. But hey, do you? Last one for Hire It or Fire It, presented by GS Construction. Ultimately, the Oilers would be up 3-0 if Skinner was average in net through this series. Hire it or fire it?
Fire it again.
Okay.
There's some of those saves that he would have had to make. Those are some goals he taking away from the other team, fighting through. Looks like a different goalie from those shots on the point. Just, again, I know there's screens, but as a goalie, Matty, your job is to find the puck through there and putting yourself in a very good position to stop it, even if you don't see the puck. And there just hasn't been enough battle with Stuart Skinner, and he needs to be a lot better. I really don't think that just average goaltending will win this series.
That was Hire It or Fire It, presented by GS Construction. Want to qualify someone right now for the VIP table to Friday, July 12th at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. Shane Gillis, Andrew Schultz. Tickets completely sold out for the Friday of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. There are still a limited number of tickets available for the Saturday featuring Kevin Hart, and the Sunday with Bert Kreischer and Whitney Cummings. GreatOutdoorsComedyFestival.com for more information and to get your tickets to the Saturday or the Sunday. Alley Cat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, including the 6 o'clocker lager. What better way to spend a Friday night in the summer than sitting in Kingsman, having some laughs, thanks to some great comedians from around the world. To get into this, you just have to text us 780-218-9999. Let's go with Andrew, because I think people will misspell Schultz here. Andrew to 780-218-9999. He's one of the featured guys of the Friday, Andrew Schultz and Shane Gillis. So text Andrew to 780-218-9999, and you'll go into a draw for that VIP table for 4 to the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. We'll give away that next Friday on the station. So qualifying people throughout the rest of this week and into next week. And like I said, Friday, we will give that away. It's time now to jump into what do we? I don't have the official wording here. Big headlines, presented by Big Mama and Papa Pizzeria. It's a real pizzeria restaurant, not just a delivery pizza chain, serving authentic Italian cuisine with their made in-house pizza dough, traditional tomato sauce, and fresh toppings. Each pizza is cooked to perfection. A pizza experience you've been waiting for. Visit them 128th Ave, 97th Street. Order today, bmpp.ca, or call 587-746-0550. Two guys in goalie, Iwanyk, Joaquin, Gage with you here. And Gage, have you heard anything? Have you seen anything on? Have you heard about the 3-on-3 league that is being rumored to be coming? $30 million cap.
Yeah, I wish I was younger. That's the first thing that went through my mind. But no, I mean, $30 million cap. That was impressive to me. I read another thing. It's going to be the live hockey or
well, it's Saudi money.
Like that.
And this is bigger and hotter headlines, I should say, presented by Big Mamas and Papa's Pizzeria. It's apparently Saudi money. So they've gone from targeting the PGA Tour to trying to steal the biggest names in soccer to now hockey. I don't get why hockey all of a sudden, but here we go.
Yeah, I like watching 3-on-3. I think it's exciting. It's full of action, but I'm interested. I won't lie to you, man.
Are you?
I think it. Yeah, you're not going to watch this thing. And who knows who they drag out of here? Well, this is the thing.
That's the thing I'm fascinated by, because, for the longest time, I follow the golf very closely. And the longest time, there was even one point, because of comments Phil Mickelson made, everyone on the PGA Tour said, we're not going. And then 3 weeks later, month and a half later, they were announcing a bunch of guys that were going. And I'll be fascinated which hockey players are willing to take the money to leave the National Hockey League to go to this league. How is the NHL going to handle this? Will this be guys who have contracts in the National Hockey League? Are they going to try to break those to go to this league, or is it only going to be free agents? And what we've seen is, with the cap situation, the top guys are getting paid. That middle class isn't there getting paid as much anymore in hockey. Either you're going to be the top guy paid or you have to take a pay cut to take less. How many of those guys are going to take the jump? And, we were talking about it quickly in the Hangout today, and YTT quickly yelled out Evander Kane. Like, does Evander Kane not seem like a guy that would maybe be able to grab quite a bit more millions by going to this league, and a guy that would go?
Could. I think at his age, I don't know if, you might think that he might be one of those guys that does go, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Like, by age, do you mean he's too young to go, or
too old?
See, but isn't that what they're going to have to get, is those guys that are a little bit older that could get that last payday that they're not going to get the same in the National Hockey League, that they could go grab an extra $2, $3, $4 million because the Saudis don't care?
See, this is where I think this is going to affect more those guys that come out of their entry deals, those bridge contracts that become eliminated now, and they go and strike it big for the next few years. Still younger. You go to the 3-on-3 league, put up some good, start almost like showcasing yourself and make up that gap. That's where it's the most danger for the NHL, is losing the young, talented, restricted free agent to another league like this that can offer maybe a little bit more money. The older guys looking for that last deal,
that's the names.
Historically, those guys,
that's for the league.
Those
you
guys
get the
don't
names.
sign for big. Yeah, but I don't know. That's where I think the danger lies, is the bridge deal of the young, talented players that could be lured to a new league with dollar signs.
Well, I'll take it.
Depends on the player.
I'll take it a little step further and go, like, obviously not a Connor Bedard with number 1 overall, but do you want to lock into a 3-year entry-level deal at $750,000 or whatever? Or do you take a payday right off the bat and go, I'm going to take $6-7 million right off from the Saudis? I'm just going to get paid right off the bat. And, hey, look, I could play here for a few years and I could make a lot of cash. And I don't think it would be the top, 5 picks type thing. But if you're a guy who's maybe between 10 and 20 in the first round, you don't know where your NHL career could go, but you could go just make a bunch of cash right off the bat with the 3-on-3.
Your bubble players too. This is enticing for them, right? The guys that maybe don't really fit into the bottom 6 and need to perform well. They need to be in a more of a top 6 role. Your cupboards could be a lot more bare, so to speak, if they get lured away from there. So I'm not worried too much about the older players looking for that big money deal, a little bit more name. I'm looking at the young, talented guys that have an opportunity way earlier in their career to really cash in and not have to get to that unrestricted point, and until they can really make some money.
The one thing I will say about this 3-on-3 league is they better get some skilled players, because you said you enjoy watching 3-on-3, but that's NHL 3-on-3, correct?
Yeah.
And I mentioned this on the Hangout today, mentioned on Oil Stream yesterday, so I think it was Oil Stream yesterday. So people, if they've heard this from me, apologize. I'm sounding like a broken record. But I remember the 2018 Olympics and watching Canada go to 3-on-3. And I remember watching 3-on-3 with lesser skilled players, and it's not that exciting in my eyes. When you don't have the Connor McDavids and Evan Bouchard and Leon Draisaitl going up against Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon, or having Crosby on the ice, or Austin Matthews on the ice, and you go down to the lower players, it's not as exciting because the skill's not shining through, because the skill isn't as good as what those top-end players could do. So if I think a 3-on-3 is going to be successful, you're going to need some skill, or some people are going to watch it for a little bit and go, not that good.
I'd like to see the evolution of it, like the strategy that comes out of it, and how that's going to work. Because let's face it, we only see it for a few minutes, a year basically.
And coaches have done a great job of trying to kill the offense of it too over time.
Oh yeah. So I'd like to see a little bit more how you're going to play. Are you going to start with possibly 3 D-men, or when do you go to just 4 or 3 forwards? Does the goalie, change with full possession for a certain amount of time, and then circles back, and then they get another player up there? Those types of things that we all see at kids tournaments when it gets down to the 3-on-3s kind of stuff. But I'll watch it. It might get boring, Matty, but they'll definitely have my eyes off the hop.
This is Bigger and Hotter headlines presented by Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria. Quickly, Dallas Stars, do you think the Avs can find a way to come back in that series, or the Stars getting set to punch their ticket to the Western Conference Finals after what they've done so far?
Just a horrible thing with Nikushkin, having to go into stage 3 of the players program. That's a big loss, because he was a whale in this playoffs so far. Taze didn't play. The Avs are running into some injury issues. And yeah, the Stars are rolling. I actually said after that Winnipeg series, I thought the Avs were going to give Dallas Stars fits. But we're really seeing what a deep team, an injury-free team, can do in the playoffs with, by all accounts, average goaltending. That's the scariest thing with that. I'm not huge on Ottinger. I know I'm not taking anything away. I think he's a great goalie. But he had one playoff that he went to 7 games and still lost. And everyone still raves about that. And so, again, that's really not getting it done. But that team's deep. If they can stay healthy, it's going to be very difficult for whoever comes out of the Vancouver Canucks, Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, Ottinger, he had a .954 save percentage in that 7-game loss to the Flames. .895 last year in the playoffs. This year, he's .923 save percentage so far through this playoffs, but didn't get off to a great start in Game 1, but has been a lot better as of since, and he's going to be tough to deal with. I think that team is just if he's playing well, there's no holes for the Dallas Stars. And that's a very difficult team to take out. Oil Stream, a GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show later tonight. Tom Gazzola, 6 o'clock. They'll get you set for Oilers and Canucks Game 4. Oilers down 2-1, starting Calvin Pickard in net. Gager, before we wrap up here, do you care to make some sort of prediction? Will the leather jacket make an appearance tonight at some point? Will you pull that out to try to turn the tide for the Oilers? But what are you thinking for tonight?
Is this with or without leather jacket?
Well, are you pulling the leather jacket out or not? Like, it's up to you. Are you going to just is it going to come out or not? I guess that's all on you, and then you can make a decision from there.
There's only so much magic in certain items that I have. It's a Horcrux, so to speak. I don't know if this is I don't feel this is a must-win.
Okay.
If anyone can win 3 games in a row, I think the Oilers can. Maybe at that point, you'll see Gager and leather. Maybe I'll just show up at Hudson's with Tommy tonight. Maybe that's enough. But
do the Winterhawks get a win tonight and make it a 2-1 series?
Yes, definitely tonight. Too much praise. Young kids coming home to Moose Jaw like that. You see that?
Yes.
It was like they won already. There's too many people telling these young kids how great they are. They lose tonight for sure.
When do you send the video message to the team to pump up the boys? When do they get the video call from Gage going, we got Portland Winterhawks legend here, Joaquin Gage, to get you guys set to tie this series up going into Game 4 if they win tonight or something? Like, when are you getting that video ready for the boys?
As soon as they send me the ticket to go back down to Portland for the next game, and then I'll stay at my billets. She'll get another jersey.
Gager, this was fun. 2 Guys and a Goalie, presented by new sponsor GS Construction. Enjoy the game tonight, and we will see you on Thursday here with some old fashions.
Can't wait, buddy.
And thanks for tuning in to 2 Guys and a Goalie. Up next, it is the Nielsen Show replay right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Enjoy Game 4 later tonight.